morning, what is up ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Supercars of London and I hope you are having a fantastic day. I certainly will be in the next 20 minutes or so because the air shroud car cover is about to come off the Lamborghini Murcielago and I get to drive this car and it feels so good to feel like summer is just around the corner. Warm tarmac means warm tyres, mean no braking of traction. But what it does mean is birds decide to poo on our cars a little bit more. So that's the difference between when you don't have a car cover versus when you do have a car cover. Underneath, the Lamborghini is still dirty, but today, seeing as I've now owned this car for 6 months and I feel like it is in its most complete form with a beautiful wrap and an epic exhaust system, one thing that I haven't even talked about is what is this car actually like to drive, because I feel like there are tons of videos on what Lamborghini Aventadors are like, what Huracans are like, the much more accessible Lamborghinis, the much more newer Lamborghinis, where today I feel like giving a little bit of an educational lesson on what an older Lamborghini is like, a true Lamborghini before Audi's time. Now the main reason that I say pre-Audi as a Lamborghini, because a lot of people know that Audi took Lamborghini over long before the LP640 came out, but Lamborghini were already developing the Murcielago onwards from the Diablo before Audi took over. And this still features the V12 Bizzarini engine that is so famous in so many Lamborghini models. So whilst there are probably very slight elements that a specialist would be able to look through this car and be like, that's Audi and that's Audi, a lot of it is still very much pure Lamborghini, which means there are some elements to this car that aren't as good as some of the newer stuff. And I remember when the Lamborghini Huracan came out, it was the first V10, well, it was the first Lamborghini to feature a double clutch gearbox. The first time I experienced that, it was missing a certain bit of magic. This V12 that has been bored out, that started life as I believe a 4-litre V12 that was developed by the man Bizzarini. He actually came from Ferrari to develop this engine. Rumour has it, it was designed off a Honda Formula 1 engine, which is why it has this pure, high-pitched Formula 1 scream when you put an exhaust on it. Now this is a perfect place to start when talking about what this car is like to drive. I've said in a number of videos that it's like playing a musical instrument, and to get the best out of this car you really need to do a few quirky and odd things when you drive the car. Sorry, a motorbike came past and revved it. So when you're in traffic, the car's not very good. The clutch, notoriously sensitive and fragile. You have to spend as much time in neutral as possible so the car isn't trying to find a biting point. Now this is only a problem for E-gear Murcielagos, why a lot of people seem to think that favouring a manual is the way to go. When you're in traffic, your number one priority is to preserve the clutch as best as possible. That is it. So starting here in traffic is a perfect example of just how not to enjoy your Murcielago. This is the worst place a Murcielago can be. such a novel to me, but everything about this car is authentic Italian. That is the best way that I can describe this car. It is it authentic Lamborghini? Is it that? I mean, we all know that the LP640 SV is the last of the real true Lamborghinis when it comes to Lamborghini versus Audi crossover. The V12 6.5 litre engine in the Aventador is totally different to the 6.5 litre V12 in this car. It's not a Bizzarini designed engine, so a lot of people say that the Murci SV is the last Lamborghini. That's the word. It's a heavy steering. You need to go to the gym to be able to put this car around a corner. You've got no real computers helping you, so you need balls to drive it. You've got the running costs that aren't under warranty that can scare you a little bit. But when you combine everything, fear, excitement, adrenaline, safety, when you combine everything into this package, then in my eyes, you get the perfect car. I love this thing! Oh my god! It's so good! So much enjoyment. And it works at its best when you're driving it fast, when you're driving it hard. The new stuff probably works as good at slow speed, city driving, the boring stuff, as it does as the fast stuff. Because this is rubbish at the slow stuff, you have to drive it fast, so you have to always get the best out of it. That is why the Murcielago is the ultimate Lambo. We got uphill, probably accelerate a little bit slower. That's ridiculous. Oh! Yes! What's that? Bit of grass. It's a very fragile beast. Everything needs to be looked after, protected, so without fail, this is what I learned from my Lamborghini Gallardo. Without fail, I will start the car, I will let everything run for between 3 to 5 minutes so that the engine can be a little bit warm. I don't want it to go into shock when I start the car up, claim first gear straight away, take the handbrake off and go, because the clutch won't like it, the engine won't particularly like it. So I let it run for between 3 to 5 minutes. After that, it's usually around a 20-minute drive of building all of the temperatures up. I can now see that oil levels are up, engine levels are up, the gearbox is feeling a lot more smoother. I drive everywhere 100% of the time in Corsa mode. It sounds like a hassle, but I tell you what, it is the most enjoyable way of owning a car, because you really start to care for it, you really start to get attached to it, you really want to treat it well and right. for you to get the best out of the car, because that means that your running costs are going to be as low as possible, meaning your enjoyment is as high as possible. So without fail, there is a slow to medium speed warm-up of the brakes, the engine, the gearbox, everything. Now that we're all up to temperature, I really start to work things through. Now the gearing is really long, so I can do 20, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour is still only 5,500 RPM, so I can go probably up to 65 miles an hour before I need to snap second gear, and second gear probably goes all the way up to 100 miles an hour. But I try and short shift, so I get a little bit more enjoyment out of pulling the gears. And you get so much enjoyment driving this car just in a straight line, because of the sound, because of the feedback that you get from the car, the pedals, the seat, the steering wheel, everything vibrates and tells you exactly what is happening on the road. It is so engaging and raw and analog, all wrapped into one, which is why I get the most enjoyment out of flooring this car when everything is up to temperature over any other car that I've driven, any other car that I've owned. And out of the cars that I owned, I took about 75 to 80% of the time I owned the Hurricane, the AMG GTS, it was cruising like this. And I used to take it to the shops, I used to do very normal, mundane things with those cars, which meant the car became a little bit more normal. But with this, I've only driven it for fun, which adds value to those drives. But also means that 80% of the time, I'm doing this. Joining the M25, which is looking a little bit busy. Ooh, there's a Rolls Royce Phantom 7. Don't know whether I'm going to be able to catch that on camera. Can you see it? Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, let me know whether you've enjoyed this video, whether you've learned something. The one thing that I can summarize this with, it is literally like playing a fine-tuned, very expensive, antique musical instrument. If you play it too hard, the strings are going to snap. If you play it just right, it's one of the most incredible feelings in the entire world. And if you don't warm up properly, then you can pull a muscle or go bankrupt. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I am still yet to do a full-blown exhaust expert on the FabSpeed system. I want to take it through to some tunnels. I want to try and get some really, really cool flames, and basically provide you with the best eargasm ever. So I'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.